Ready?
Yes.
Okay,
Heart rate down.
good. All right, guys, what's up? We're back. Cycle 3 is going down starting next week. We're in the testing phase right now for Cycle 2. I don't know about you, but I just did the regionals workout 3 and 4. Passed out for about, how long, Junior, afterwards?
20 minutes.
Solid 20 minutes on the floor. Didn't even know I fell asleep. Fell asleep right after it. It was brutal. But happy with the results so far. So hope you guys too as well. I've been getting some good text messages from everybody saying, hey, yeah, this stuff is pretty good. And, good stuff so far. So going into the next cycle, we're going to kind of hit this back and forth, me and Brittany, talk about on my side, what's the idea going into this whole next cycle, recapping a little bit of why did we do what we did in the last one. And then Brittany will kind of be talking on the nutrition side about things to think about, how we're going to be feeling ourselves throughout it, etc. So, excuse me. Oh, no. Brown cow. Okay. So you guys, let's go over the overview of the next cycle, what we got going on. So our last cycle, I don't know about you guys, but it was basically death by squats. We were doing a high volume as far as like high percentages and high repetitions of squat. And the whole goal with that was for us to grow muscle mass. So higher repetitions and higher percentages makes muscles grow bigger. That's why bodybuilders do higher repetitions on the stuff they do to get bigger muscles, not necessarily stronger muscles. For example, I got a couple text messages from a couple people down there saying, hey guys, I feel like my jerk isn't getting better or anything like that. I'm not stronger. That wasn't the point of the last cycle. It wasn't to make us stronger. It was to give us more muscle mass. The more muscle mass that we have, now it's time to create muscle density with that bigger muscle mass. So the bigger the muscle is, the more room we have to make it stronger. And we can basically just start crushing PRs from here on out is the goal. So last cycle was building muscle mass, and this cycle is going to be muscle density. So we'll dive into more as far as what that looks like with our Olympic weightlifting and our strength stuff. We have been doing AM sessions, excuse me, basically this whole time, but I haven't really dove into it very much. I just wanted to see where you guys were at, if you're even doing it or not. This next cycle, it's going to be super important that these AM sessions are done in the AM, meaning that they're done as a fasted state as well. Brittany will dive more into that and the reasons why we're going to have you guys do this stuff in fasted state, but that's going to be very important that it's done upon waking without anything in your stomach. We are also going to be diving into more gymnastics-focused types of work, so there'll actually be a gymnastics piece in there every day, kind of like a light little Metcon, but with more skilled movements in it. We're going to be hitting some pretty hard accessory work. I know that basically when we polled everybody, it seemed like the overwhelming movement that people want to get better at is handstand push-ups. Seems like our pressing isn't very well, so we're going to be working on basically getting boulders for shoulders. So you're going to see a ton of bodybuilding in this next one. Accessory pieces every day. We'll talk about more what that's going to look like. And then finally, we have a couple of really high skill pieces that are going to be showing up too, like some ring handstand push-ups in week 3. And week 1 and 2, we're going to be kind of building up to that. So make sure you guys are doing the accessory stuff because that's going to lead us into that ring handstand push-ups for weeks 3, 4, 5, and 6. We'll be kind of hitting those every once in a while just to get the stimulus, not necessarily a ton of reps in them, but just to get you guys upside down in rings because they were at the games. A lot of times what we see at the games is that stuff trickles down to the regionals that next year. So I'm going to hand it over to Britt. She's going to talk a little bit more about the AM fasted stuff that we're doing and some things to really think about with that.
Hey guys. So yeah, let's start with the AM fasted stuff. Basically, what we're looking at is after we're done working out, you guys are going to have your regular meal. It's going to consist more of like your protein and fats, but I'll get into that later on. Now, when we sleep, your body basically releases growth hormone, right? So when it releases that, it also has all this free fatty acid that is available to you once you wake up. So once you wake up, you have all this free fatty acid, and your body can actually use that as ATP or energy. So when you wake up in the morning, you have all this, you can use that as energy, and it's readily available. And this is how we get you guys to start using fat as fuel. So I know like this whole entire time, or like when you think CrossFit, you're like, oh, high intensity, like a whole bunch of carbs, just gonna carb up and have all this energy through that. Well, what happens once your body has used all your carbs? Because that will happen, especially when later on down the road you're at regionals and you're doing multiple workouts and they're long and strenuous, you might deplete your body of all that glycogen. And so our body needs to get used to using fat as well, and if we don't train it to do that, then it will never be available to do that. And then if you don't have that, then later on down the road, your body might end up using actually muscle and breaking down your muscle for energy because it doesn't know how to break down the fat. So this AM fasted is really made for you guys to start getting your body used to using that fat. And it will also help you guys shed off a little bit of that extra fat for all the gymnastics movements that we're doing this cycle. And so, yes, mass moves mass, but like we just said, we just built our body to make all this mass, and now we're getting it stronger. And then on top of that, we want to go ahead and get some of that fat down to make us more gymnasty. So kind of really looking at like tying that overall picture and not just focusing on one thing, but kind of getting us just like CrossFit ready.
Yeah, like everything we do is practice, and practice leads to us being able to do things easier. And that's the same thing with our body being able to convert from a carbohydrate source to a fat source to be able to use those things as fuel. So by us going into this AM fasted cardio stuff in a fasted state, ideally, about how many hours are we looking for before the last meal?
So, I just flicked off a chunk of wood. So actually what I'm looking for is like after you guys do your PM session, like have a good solid meal so that your body can go ahead and recover through the nighttime. But I think the most important part here is getting enough sleep so that your body can start secreting that growth hormone. Because if you're not getting that sleep and you're not getting your body to secrete the growth hormone, then you won't have access to that free fatty acid that we want to use in the morning. So the most important part is just getting good quality sleep. So if you're someone that's like, hell yeah, 4 hours of sleep and I work my ass off, like really you're not doing your body any justice. You're not like helping yourself. It's not like it's trained smarter, not necessarily harder. Definitely. When it comes to that part. So make sure that you guys are also getting your sleep for this fasted cardio and to make sure that you guys are set up properly for the rest of the day.
Awesome. Yeah, so again, you guys, it's just a way for us to make sure that when you do hit that wall, you run out of those glycogen stores, that the body doesn't start reverting to using muscle tissue as a fuel source, but instead it'll pull out of those fat stores, start using that instead. So this is where you see people really exceed on days 2 and 3 at regionals, are the ones that you see doing those AM sessions all the time, and their body is very efficient at converting fat to fuel. So, and looking at a lot of the data that we've been collecting with scores and stuff like that, I see that the longer workouts that we've been doing, or if we have multiple sessions in a day, people are really starting to die off towards those end sessions. And that tells me that we're not very good at converting fat to fuel. We're running out a little bit of those glycogen stores. The body doesn't even know how to use the fat as fuel. And if you're doing all of this volume, and you look in the mirror and you still have a pretty decent amount of fat on you, that tells me your body's not good at using that fat as fuel.
Yeah, definitely. And like when you guys are doing this fasted stuff, like you guys aren't going to feel awesome at first. And that is actually a good indicator of letting you know that, yeah, your body is more used to using the carbs. And over time, your body will assimilate to all of it, get used to it. And then you'll see the difference. And then you'll get to know like, okay, my body is starting to use the fats now. It's not just using carbs. But like, don't be upset if at first you don't feel good or you're not hitting awesome numbers or anything like that. That's not necessarily the point to like PR your runs in the morning.
Definitely. Yeah, you guys, this AM stuff, it's I could honestly care less about the numbers you guys get on it and stuff like that. I do want to see constant steady increase of improvement throughout the cycle, but yeah, we're not so concerned about your performance in the AM session as much as we are that you're just doing the AM session. So just getting that practice in. Cool. Awesome, you guys. So moving on from there, we're going to talk a little bit about time management. So the volume I know is pretty high for a lot of people, especially if you have a full-time job. You're not at the gym all day like me, or even like Chris or anybody else. We want to make sure that you guys are prioritizing this stuff in the way that you should to get the most out of it. So ideally, this next cycle, we want to see you guys breaking this stuff down into 3 sessions throughout the day. Let your body recover in between these sessions. Get some good fuel into you. Brittany will talk more about what type of fuel that should be too as well, leading into each cycle. And let your body recover from each one before going to the next one. Just a huge session of all of this beating you down is not the way to go about it in this next cycle, okay? So what we're ideally looking for is 3 sessions. First session is going to be that AM fasted cardio. Get up, get out of bed, chug a glass of water, go do your run, your row, your ski erg, whatever it may be. We are throwing in a little bit of wall ball and some like Tabata kind of kettlebell swing stuff in there too every once in a while as well, just to keep things fun for you guys. Session 2, this is where we're going to see either our strength and gymnastics portion and our workout. So the main CrossFit workout is going to be in that session 2. And then session 3 is either going to be our gymnastics and strength, Olympic weightlifting, and finally our accessory piece. So if we're looking at prioritizing this stuff for each individual person, what I want to see is the number one most important thing that you guys are doing is that AM fasted cardio. I want you guys to be able to convert fat to fuel when we get to regionals and be able to do that well without even thinking about it, okay? So that's super, super important that you guys do the AM fasted cardio, not doing your AM stuff at the end of your session or whatever it may be. Number 2, most important thing is that we're getting the workout in, the CrossFit workout. We're trying to get better doing CrossFit, and we don't do that unless we do CrossFit, okay? Also, with that being said, too, CrossFit workouts are heavy, light, medium, etc., so you will get a pretty decent amount of practice with strength and stuff in there, too, if that's all you guys can do. So AM fasted cardio, then the CrossFit workout. After that, this is where you have to look at where your weakness lies. So number 3 and 4 is either going to be if you're a weaker athlete, you're going to prioritize your strength with the third part. Or if you're a pretty strong athlete, but gymnastics is your weakness, this is where the gymnastics is going to come in. So you can flip-flop those two depending on where your weakness is. Finally, the 5th important thing is going to be the Olympic weightlifting. We put the Olympic weightlifting so low because we are going to get that stuff in the CrossFit workouts as well. You'll be snatching, you'll be clean and jerking and stuff like that. So that stuff still will stay pretty snappy with the CrossFit workouts. And then finally, if you have time, the last piece would be the accessory kind of bodybuilding stuff. And we're back. Camera turned off for a second. So before session 1, nothing.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah,
After
nothing.
session 1, breakfast.
Some
Protein,
carbs. Yeah.
Carbs, but long sustaining type of carbs, right?
Yes.
We're talking like some potatoes, some veggies, etc. Before session 2, if you don't want supplements, we're looking at some rice cakes, some protein. After session 2, berry drink, something with a lot of carbs in it,
Yes.
a little bit more protein, some ATP Mechanics post. Before session 3, we're looking at something a little bit less simple carbs, right?
Yes, correct.
So a little bit like, now we're looking at veggies again, that type of stuff. Some fatty protein.
Yes, that is really cool.
So this is like going from, instead of chicken, it's like a little bit of beef, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That, or I would save it for after your workout, after your 3rd session, or after your strength session is where I would have that.
Okay, cool. And we'll talk more about that. So I hope I didn't confuse you guys too much with that, but let us know if you guys need some help with that nutrition stuff, and Brittany can definitely help you guys out with that. So we're going to dive in a little bit with the Olympic weightlifting explanation stuff. So every day you guys are going to have Olympic weightlifting piece that you're going to be doing. And like I said, we're trying to build muscle density in this next cycle. So you guys are going to see a lot of every minute on the minute with the Olympic weightlifting. And for the strength stuff, you're going to see a lot of build to a heavy 1 rep, 2 rep, 3 rep, 5 rep. There's a couple 10 rep maxes in there, but there are only 1 or 2, I think, throughout the entire cycle. And the whole point of that is to do 2 things. Number 1, lower weights, higher percentages, builds muscle density. Number 2, this is a way for us to regulate your CNS without actually having to really tap into it. So what I mean by that is some days we feel beat up, and if we look at the Train Heroic stuff, it says that you need to do 5 sets of 5 at 82%. And you feel beat up, and 82% feels really heavy, and you're not giving that central nervous system a break for you individually, as opposed to if it was 5 sets of 5 of build to a 5 sets of 5 of build to a heavy 5, right? So you're just working your way up to a heavy 5. Heavy 5 for you that day is heavy for you. If you're feeling really good, that weight goes up. If you're not, that weight's a little bit lower. All good. Put in your score. Go about your day. So the every minute on the minute for the Olympic weightlifting stuff, it's going to be, for example, we'll do like some snatches from the blocks at mid-thigh. Every minute on the minute, 1 snatch from the blocks, mid-thigh, for 20 minutes. That is a building of weight over 20 minutes. You start at lightweight, next minute add a little bit, keep going up until you hit a good 1 rep. Once you fail that weight, I want you to take that weight off, bring yourself back down, and then try to hit a weight that you can hit consistently for the rest of the 20 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it may be. That's going to be for the Olympic weightlifting stuff. Again, for the strength stuff, it'll be build to a heavy 2, a heavy 3, a heavy 5, whatever it may be, and just work your up to whatever feels good for you that day. Also this, I want to give you guys a little bit of freedom too. So if you're feeling really good that day and it says build to a heavy 5 or something like that, and you're like, man, I am firing today, like I want to go for a single and try to PR this thing, go for it. This is the cycle to make that happen. Like definitely listen to your body, and if you're firing that day and you're feeling good and it says to like do a 10 rep max deadlift and you're like, man, if I just keep going singles with this thing, like I'm going to PR this bad boy, like go for it. I want you guys to do that, and I want you guys to have a lot of fun with this next cycle. Regular CNS, feel good, feel bad, don't go heavy. Just looking at my notes behind you guys here. Awesome. And then going to the accessory stuff, you guys. So the accessory work is going to be a lot of just like old school bodybuilding type stuff that we're looking for to get the shoulders, chest, biceps, and triceps a lot stronger to help out with all that pressing and pulling that we're going to be doing. It's listed as basically like 3 sets of a couple or 3 different movements. And it'll be listed as like 8 to 10 reps or 20 to 25 reps, whatever it may be, without any weights listed as well. What I'm looking for is that you guys are using a weight on these movements. For example, there's some standing like lateral raises with dumbbells for 8 to 10 reps. That 8, 9, and 10 reps should be like you're having to kind of start kipping the movement a little bit. So pick a weight that the last few reps that you're doing, you're really kind of coming towards that failure piece. It shouldn't be easy the last few reps. And that should go up throughout the cycle too as we keep going. We've got some Arnold presses that we're doing, like seated Arnold presses, dumbbells together here. You press up overhead and turn the dumbbells over as you come back up. Again, if it says 20 to 25 reps of those, obviously the weight's going to be light, but like on the 18th, 19th, 20th rep, 21 reps, you're really trying to squeeze those out and you're going to failure, and then taking as much rest as you guys need between sets. This should be the last thing you guys do during the day. And so Brittany will kind of talk about this too, is as you setting yourself up, is if you're doing the accessory piece, you're almost done with your day. You should be starting to think about getting yourself set up to go to bed and to be fueled for the next day in that AM fasted cardio stuff. So what should we be doing during that accessory piece to kind of set ourselves up for success on the next day?
During that accessory piece, I would say you guys should start drinking that protein drink, that ATP, start recovering. At this point, you're kind of done with your carbs for the day, but start getting that drink in. When you get home, you're going to have another meal. If you guys would like to, this is kind of really depending on the person. Some people don't like it, some people do. But during nighttime, you guys can totally feel free to try a casein drink, which is another type of protein. It just is broken down more slowly. So it's perfect for nighttime when your body is just kind of in that like recovering slow state. So I would say you guys can definitely try that out and see how that goes. But yeah, during that accessory work, like start getting that last protein drink in with your ATP and start that recovery.
Yeah, think about it like when you guys go into a Globo gym and you see the dudes with like the really tiny shirts on and stuff, and they're doing the bodybuilding stuff and they have their shake with them the whole time and they're walking around with it. Like,
that's what you're going to be.
That's what we're going to be. It's going to be cool. That's what we're doing with that. Okay, so last thing we're going to talk about, you guys, on this next cycle, we're getting closer to the Open. We're getting closer to regionals. We're getting closer to the games, and it's super – I can't stress this enough, and we said it in the last couple podcasts and stuff, and I know I've been kind of posting about it on the Facebook page, but the mental workouts on Thursday that Coach Fistro puts up, you guys have to do those. The only thing that separates people from the open level, regional level, and games level is mental toughness. Everybody's willing to put in a ton of work in the gym. We're all willing to lift weights, but the reason why we give up in an open workout, a regional workout, or a games workout is because we're not mentally strong enough. They've done studies with Navy SEALs that say that by the time they come to physical exhaustion, or what they think is physical exhaustion, it's actually just mental exhaustion, they've only tapped into about 45% of what their physical capabilities are. So they have a whole, like we're talking about 65% still in the tank that they could use if they were mentally tough. So all these little drills that Coach Fistro puts up for you guys, like the little 0 to 100 sheet and stuff and counting backwards from 100, it may seem like it's like, why am I doing this? It's not really helping me in the gym. It will help you in the gym. I can vouch for it 100%. Did the regionals workout number 1 today completely unbroken by using the R's in my head the entire time, the refocus, respond. And I used that the entire time. Every 25 wall balls, I refocused, I responded, and I kept moving. Did all the pull-ups unbroken, which is a PR for me, and came in second place overall at regionals with my score today, using those mental things that I've gotten from Coach Fistro. What we want to start to see is, even if you guys are doing it, and let's say you're not posting, is start to post, because that's when the magic really happens. We want to see a lot of comments underneath those things, pictures of you guys doing it, etc., and get the conversation going. If you guys notice that people inside your gym, for example, aren't doing it, get on them and help them do it too as well. Do these exercises together. That'll help out a ton too. I talked to Coach Fistro yesterday, and he's going to be putting up even more stuff every once in a while than he does just on Thursdays to kind of keep the conversation going. So understand that the difference between the people that make it to regionals and don't, it's not necessarily the physical part. We're all willing to do that. It's the mental capacity. So you guys need to be doing that mental workouts on Thursday. And to be honest with you, you guys are lucky that you even have somebody doing that for you. So not many programs out there I know have a nutrition coach, CrossFit coach, and a mental coach. Yeah. So it's pretty awesome you guys have that. Anything else?
No. I mean, I talked with Wes about the mental part of it too, and I had told him, I was like, hey, like, honestly, it's just like, I've been struggling with coming back from an injury, and like, I'm not motivated. And he's like, well, that there alone just tells me that you need it. So I know that I am going to like really make an effort to like make that a priority in my everyday training. But I think another part that kind of, I was like, damn, like, I need to do this, is that it's not just CrossFit too. Like, it can cross over to like your everyday life, whatever you do as a profession or anything else in your family life. Like, it transfers over everywhere. So like, definitely, we're really learning like life skills right here, as deep as that sounds.
Super deep. I like it. All right, guys. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll put this stuff up for you. Comment below. Hit me up on Facebook, text message, whatever you guys need to do. Keep the conversation going and get ready for our 3rd cycle, which is technically almost the last cycle leading into the Open. So this one's a big one. This is the one where you guys need to dial it in. So, all right, we'll see you guys later.
Bye.